Hi everyone, I'm Balaji Chippada and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In continuation of our SQL series, in this video, we will learn about insert or how to update a table. So without any delay, let's get started. So far, we have learned a lot of other concepts. We have four different categories of commands in which we have data definition language, data definition, and then we have data manipulation, and then we have data control, and then we have transaction control. So why do we need this? At the first of our series, we have seen how to load IMDb dataset onto your SQL workbench, right? But someone must have created this IMDb dataset, right? So how to create a database and how to create a table and how to add data into these tables. So all of these are categorized into multiple sections like DDL, DML, DCL and TCL. So in data definition language, we will look at how to create a table, how to alter a table, how to delete a table and how to rename. So you can do a lot of options on databases or tables. You can create database, you can create tables, you can delete database, you can delete tables. So all of these are categorized under data definition language. And then we have data manipulation. As the name suggests, we can manipulate the data inside your database. Either it could be in the tables or it could be in the databases. So we have learned about select statement, right? A select statement can be used to retrieve the data from the table. No matter what kind of conditions you want, you can join with the joins, where conditions, group by. You can do a lot using select statement. But select is one of the DML commands. And then we have insert. In this video, we will learn about insert, and then we have update table, delete table, merge, call. So there are a lot of other things that you can do in data manipulation language. And inside data control language, you will think about whom to give permission to. So let's say this is my whole database and we have multiple tables inside this database. Let's assume like this. And you have prepared this data by taking a lot of manual effort. You have created database, you have created tables, you have added data inside these tables, and you have put in a lot of efforts. So let's say you have given access to one person who doesn't know that much about databases, and he deletes all of these things. I mean, he doesn't want to delete, but by some mistake he deletes everything. So there is a huge lot of efforts, right? So in that way, you can decide whom to give access to and whom to give update access or write access or only read access. So there are multiple types of access. One type of access is only giving a read access, in which, let's say, person X is given read access. He can read the content of the database, but he cannot modify the content, he cannot update, he cannot delete, he cannot do anything. So you can decide what kind of access you want to give. And revoke is a command in which you can pull back the access. Let's say you have given a person X multiple accesses. Now you want to close the access. That is where revoke comes into picture. And then we have transaction control language, in which we have commit, rollback, save and set point. Now let me explain all of these in detail. So what is a commit? So let's say this is your table 1, and you have made some changes in the table. Either you have updated the table, you have added new rows. So then you can use commit. So what commit will do is it will save all of your changes. No matter what kind of changes you have done, it will save all of those changes. So that's what commit will do. And we have a rollback. So let's say you have table 1 and you have done some changes and you got table 2, and your higher person comes and says table 2 is not perfect. Then you want to go back to your previous table. That is where rollback comes into picture. And then we have one more called save point. Let's say you are making changes in table 1 and it is taking at least 3 hours to make changes. Let's assume like that. And in the first 1 hour, you have made some changes and you save that using a save point. So no matter what you do, after 1 hour, at this point, you have saved the data. So you can always go back to this point and you can get that much of data. And then we have set transaction. So we have multiple commands under multiple sections inside SQL to deal with databases and tables. Hopefully you understand the different sections of the SQL. Now in this video, let's talk about insert, and in the next videos we'll talk about DDL commands. We'll talk about almost all of these commands in detail in the coming videos. So stay tuned for more videos. Now let's go back to our SQL workbench. I'm using IMDb dataset, and if I execute this describe movies, so if I do this, I can see that I have these many columns. So I have ID, first name, year, and rank score. ID is a primary key, that means it should not have duplicate values, and name is of varchar type. Okay, and then year is also integer type, and rank score is a float data type, and it can have multiple duplicate values. So this is the high level architecture of the table called movies. So now what we will do is we will try to add some records into the movies table. Now first let's understand what is the maximum ID. So if I see 412320 is the maximum ID that we have in the movies table. So now let's understand about insert. So insert is a command in which you can use to update records. I mean, you have to add new records to the table. So what is the syntax? Now let's understand syntax. I'm saying insert into is also a keyword, and here I have to provide my table name in which I want to do the insert. Here it is a movies table, and then I have these columns, right? ID, name, year, and rank score. So I'm saying insert into movies table and all of these columns, and then you have to specify values and open parenthesis. Inside this you provide the values for all of these things. So how it will treat is, so id would be this value 412321. Why am I using 412321? Because the maximum id is already 412320, and it is a primary key column, and we should not have any duplicates, so I have to go to the next one. That is why I'm using 412321. And in the name I'm using Thor, and year I'm using 2011, and rank score I'm giving a value of 7. So all of these correspond to all of these values. If I execute this, it got selected and executed without any issues. Now let's find out the maximum ID. So 412321. Now let's find out this record. Select star from movies where id equal to 412321. So if I execute this, I get 412321, 2011, and rank score as 7. If you see, all of these values are inside my table called movies. So this is how you can add new records to the table. So let me rephrase the syntax again. Insert into my table name, and here are my columns, and I'm passing values, and I'm then doing these values. So likewise, for every record you have to use this command to add the records into your table. Now let's say I want to add multiple records. I want to add another record. Let's assume I want 412322. Balaji is the movie, and it is released in 2024, and let's say rank score of 8. If I want to do this, shall I have to repeat the same line again? No. That is where we can use something like this. Insert into my movies table, ID, name, year, and rank score. All of these are columns, and I'm passing my values. The first record is 412321 Thor 2011 and 7, and then next we have 412322 Iron Man. I have all the information, but notice all of them are separated by a comma. So how many values we have, you have to use it inside parenthesis, and after every parenthesis you have to provide comma. Now if I execute this, this will throw an error because 412321 is already present. So I have to do something like this. And if I execute this, this will get executed and everything will be fine. Now if I do this one to 5, let's say to 3, let's assume like this, and let's execute this, and I got the Iron Man. This is the new record that we updated or added into the table. Hopefully that is clear. Now let's say I have my movies table here, and I have another table. Let's assume like this, table 2. Now, what if I want to copy my data from my table 2 to the movies table? So do I need to do insert into all the records into this table? No, that is where select will come into the picture again. So what I'm saying is insert into my movies table, and these are the columns that I want to insert, and I am trying to insert from another table. Here I am using the same table because the schema is same, but no matter what, you can use it from another table as well. I am doing select ID, name, year, rank score from my movies table and year less than 2000. And if I execute this is going to throw an error because ID is going to be the same, right? But we can do this kind of insert as well. If I execute this will throw an error because primary key ID is going to have multiple values, because if I select this is going to return me another table, right? And I am trying to add the same data into my movies table, which it is not going to happen. So, but technically you can do like this: insert into movies table all the columns you want to add, and you can select from any other table and it will get updated without any issues. Hopefully that is clear. Now let's understand some of the failure cases where it will get failed. As we have seen, ID is a primary key column and it should not have duplicates. So if I try to insert into the table in which I'm providing a duplicate value inside your ID, it is going to throw me an error. Let's execute this and see here error code duplicate entry for one key, because value 1 is already present inside your table called movies and you are trying to add it into the primary key column, which is going to result you in an error. And let's try this one. So what is happening here, I am not updating all of my columns into my table. So if I do this, I am missing a ID column here, right? I cannot update my table without my ID column because it is my primary key. So if I miss this one, how is it going to get updated? That is why we are getting an error. Hopefully that is clear. And then next we have another failure case, which is type mismatch. In the initial table we have seen that. Let's execute this. And here if you see, ID is of integer, name is of varchar, year is of integer, and rank score is of float. And if I execute this one, type mismatch, ID should not be a string, right? If I see here, I'm adding into ID, which is the string, but ID is a integer type column in the definition, right? And I cannot add a string inside my ID column. That is where it is getting an error. And even rank score is a float data type, but here I'm passing a string. That is why it is going to throw you an error. And next we have one more failure case in which we don't have the column names. I don't have a column name called release date, and if I am trying to insert into my table which doesn't have a column name, it is going to throw you an error. And you can see here unknown column release date in the field list. So these are all some of the potential failure cases while you are trying to insert into your table. Hopefully you understand. If you have any queries so far, please let me know in the comment section below and I will reply to each and every one of you personally. And that's all for this video, guys. In this video, we have learned what are the different types of SQL commands that are available, like DDL, DML, TCL, and DCL. And then we have learned how to utilize or add new records into our given table by using a command called insert. The syntax is insert into your table name, table columns, values. You have to give inside a parenthesis what are the values that you want to insert. And we have also seen the potential failure cases while doing insert as well. And that's all for this video, and we will meet in the next video. If you are learning something new from this video, a sub to the channel would be appreciated, and click that bell icon to get notified daily. Bye bye.